If you have ever looked at your dog and noticed those reddish-brown streaks running down from the corners of their eyes, you already know how frustrating tear stains can be. You wash their face, you wipe it down, and a few days later, they are right back. And if your dog is white or light-colored, those stains feel like they are impossible to hide. So today I want to sit down with you and really walk through this properly, because there is so much more to tear stains than just wiping a dog's face with a wet cloth. There is a whole approach, daily habits, grooming techniques, and dietary changes that can genuinely make a difference. And I know this because we went through it ourselves with our own dog. So let's start at the very beginning. Tear stains are caused by a compound called porphyrin, which is a natural pigment found in your dog's tears, saliva, and other secretions. When that moisture sits on the fur and is exposed to air and light over time, it oxidizes, and that is what creates that deep reddish-brown color you are seeing. Now, all dogs produce tears, so why do some dogs stain so much more dramatically than others? The answer has a lot to do with breed and coat type. Smaller breeds, and especially those with shorter noses like Maltese, Shih Tzus, Bichons, and Poodles, tend to be the ones most visibly affected. Part of this is anatomy. When a dog has a shorter muzzle, the structure of the skull can actually compress the tear ducts, making it harder for tears to drain properly down through the nose the way they are supposed to. So instead of draining internally, the tears spill outward and run down the face. And when you combine that overflow with a light or white coat, those stains show up like a neon sign. But here is the thing, and this is really important, tear stains are not always just a cosmetic issue. They can be a sign of something going on underneath the surface. Before you do anything else, before you change a single thing about your routine, it is worth a conversation with your vet to rule out a bacterial or fungal infection. Excessive tearing can sometimes be caused by blocked ducts, eye infections, or other underlying conditions that genuinely need medical treatment. So please, get that checked first. Once you have that peace of mind and your vet has given you the all clear, then you can move into the natural management approach, which is what the rest of this video is all about. Alright. So let's talk about prevention first, because honestly, keeping stains from forming in the first place is so much easier than trying to treat stains that are already deeply set into the fur. The very first habit you want to build is keeping the area around your dog's eyes clean on a daily basis. Dust, dirt, and debris collect in that fur all day long just from your dog going about their life, sniffing the ground, walking through the garden, lying on their bed. When that grime mixes with the natural moisture from the eyes, it creates a paste that hardens into the fur over time. And once it hardens, trying to remove it becomes painful for your dog and genuinely difficult for you. So make it a habit, just a quick, gentle wipe around the eyes every single day. A soft damp cloth or a gentle dog-safe eye wipe works perfectly. Think of it the same way you think about brushing teeth. Small, consistent effort prevents a much bigger problem down the road. The second thing to stay on top of is the hair around the eyes. This one is huge and gets overlooked constantly. When the hair around your dog's eyes grows too long, it physically touches the eye. Even a single strand of hair poking against the eyeball is enough to irritate it, and when the eye is irritated, it produces more tears. More tears means more staining. So keeping that hair trimmed short, carefully, with rounded-tip grooming scissors, is not just about aesthetics. It is genuinely reducing one of the triggers for excessive tearing. If you are not comfortable doing this yourself, ask your groomer to keep it a priority at every appointment. And thirdly, check the area frequently for moisture. That space between the inner corners of the eyes and the bridge of the nose stays wet in many dogs, and wet fur is a breeding ground for bacteria. If you notice it is damp when you check, dry it gently and thoroughly. Just patting it dry after cleaning makes a real difference. Now let's move on to treating stains that are already there, because if your dog already has deep, set-in staining, you need to know that you cannot simply wash it away. The pigment has bonded to the hair, and no amount of wiping is going to lift it out. The hair itself is stained, full stop. So what do? The honest answer is that you manage it while growing it out. The approach that has worked best for us is careful, gradual trimming. You do not want to go in and take a lot off at once, because that can completely change the shape of your dog's face and disrupt the haircut you have been working to maintain. Instead, trim in small stages, a little bit at a time, removing the most heavily stained sections while keeping the overall shape intact. It is a slow process, but it works. Over a few grooming sessions, you gradually replace the stained hair with fresh, clean growth. While you are doing that, a small flea comb becomes your best friend. Running a fine-tooth comb through the fur around the eyes every day helps lift out dust, dried crust, and debris that builds up in that area. It keeps the existing fur in better condition while the new growth comes in, and it stops that dried buildup from becoming the kind of matted, hardened mess that is painful to deal with later. It takes maybe 2 minutes, and it genuinely changes things. But here is where I really want to spend some time, because this is the part that made the biggest difference for us personally, and it is the part that most people skip entirely. Treating the cosmetic side of tear stains without looking at what is causing them in the first place is a little bit like mopping the floor while the tap is still running. You have to look at the root cause, and for a huge number of dogs, the root cause is diet. Food sensitivities and reactions to certain proteins or ingredients can absolutely trigger increased tearing and staining. The same is true for water. Some dogs are sensitive to the mineral content in tap water, and switching to filtered water has made a noticeable difference for many dog owners. We started there first, actually. Filtered water, fresh bowl every day. Then we started looking at food. And this is where I want to be honest with you, it is a process, and it requires patience. You cannot change everything at once, because then you have no way of knowing what made the difference. Instead, you change one thing at a time and give it a few weeks before you evaluate. A few weeks is typically enough time to see whether a dietary change is having an effect, because that is roughly how long it takes for new fur growth to show you whether the staining is slowing down. For us, we suspected food was a factor because our dog did not seem to have any signs of infection. His eyes looked healthy, there was no discharge beyond the tears themselves, and the vet had not flagged any concerns. So we started looking at his protein source. He had been on chicken-based kibble for a while, and after doing some research and talking through the options, we decided to try switching to a lamb-based kibble along with dried lamb treats as his main snack. Within a few weeks, we started seeing less new staining forming. The existing stains were still there, remember, those take trimming and time to address, but the rate of new staining had noticeably slowed. That was a real turning point for us, and here is what I want you to take from that: what works for one dog does not work for every dog. We have 2 dogs, and interestingly, one of them reacts poorly to beef, while the other reacts poorly to chicken. They are completely different. So this is not a one-size-fits-all answer. It is about paying attention to your specific dog, keeping notes, and slowly narrowing down the trigger. Think of yourself as a detective. Some dogs also do better when you reduce the overall level of artificial additives, fillers, or preservatives in their food. Moving toward a cleaner, simpler ingredient list has helped a lot of owners see improvement. Others find that a raw or fresh diet makes a significant difference. Again, it depends on the dog, so let me bring it all together for you. Tear stains are not something you can fix overnight, but they are absolutely something you can manage and significantly reduce through consistent, thoughtful care. Start with your vet to make sure there is nothing medical going on. Then build your daily routine, clean the area every day, keep the hair trimmed, and keep it dry. If stains are already there, use gradual trimming and a fine-tooth comb to manage them over time. And then do the deeper work of looking at diet, changing one thing at a time, giving each change a few weeks, and paying attention to what your individual dog responds to. You know your dog better than anyone else does. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is just slow down, observe, and be willing to experiment with patience. The results do come. It just takes consistency. If this was helpful, please give it a like. It genuinely helps this channel reach more dog owners who are dealing with the same thing. Drop a comment below and let me know what breed your dog is and whether tear stains have been a struggle for you. I read every comment and I love hearing from this community. And if you want more honest, practical dog care content just like this, make sure you are subscribed so you do not miss the next one.